Hello everyone, NekoboyBlue bringing you here a tournament game from the All Hands on Deck tournament. This is going to be my Burning Lance squaring off against Team Baby Blue Seals. Let's introduce the teams. Team 1, we've got Bad Cake, we've got First Legion, Best Legion, aka Ash and Gold. We've got Toxic and Von Luck. That is going to be the My Burning Lance team in the ANS Blue Trunks. Squaring off against them in the OSP Orange Trunks is going to be Baby Blue Seals. That is Jar, Fresh Dumbledore, Gaming Royale, and Sultan Kiwi. Dumbledore, you might also known as ES, I believe is their going name on Discord right here, right meow. So, we're on Yukon. It is 3,000 points per player, played to 1,000 score. So we're going to see how these players decide to deploy and destroy each other. Neutral point in the middle here, A, is always fought over with something. Beam destroyers or 100 mil bulkers are usually the send-off devices. C point aggression you can see quite a bit, but looks like the OSP electing to deploy mostly towards the ice rock here, kind of dividing the map down the middle, gives that DB push occasionally a bit of teeth. We'll see where they end up going from there. ANS in turn electing to go heavily on their left side deployments, seeing what they can get done here. Both teams kind of setting up for these strong side deployments, favoring one side, might cause some rotation around the other one. See if they end up playing keep away from each other for most of the game, or if they decide to commit to throwing hands. 1 minute on the clock here till we get this deployment. Let us see how things go. Remember, this is a tournament game, so they are playing for keeps in this one, so we'll see where things end up from there. Hoping the audio is okay. If it's not, please let me know, and we can do a last-second adjustment to make sure everything does not go kablooey. Right, anyways. Remember, these are coordinated teams, or at least allegedly so. They're on a Discord call and going to be working with each other to do some nice stack-v-stack gaming, so... ANS in the Blue Trunks has readied up first. OSP doing some last-second adjustments, maybe second-guessing their plan a little bit here, setting up for everything, so we will see how things end up going with that. All right. Yeah, most of the OSP deploying in their kind of like tight formation here. They do have a couple of these kind of like on the offset. All right, let's go through these teams real quick. I'm going to go through the fleets fast before the action really kicks off, and then we'll see just what exactly they have brought to dismantle each other with. Friendly reminder, as Vostal loves to say, to drink water. All right, let's see. What have they brought here? So we're going to start off. This is going to be, Axford Central. Okay, so Toxic is here, going to be coming in along with, looks like Stonewall's Defenders on this thing. 450 on the front there. Got a launch pad on the back, briefly clipping there. It looks like it's got a pair of Tantos, Raider, and Whiplash Drive in the one. Order is going to be the other name. So we have got Court and Order here. Did I can't turn the names on like that. There we go. So yeah, Order going to be here. See, it's got the Ox reinforced nose, 450s there. Got the interrupt jammer on the back, so just a pair of Tantos there as the tech. Accompanying these is going to be Von Luck over here. We're going to see the Entropic Nemesis. No backpack on this one. The same 450 front side. Stonewall Defenders. Good stuff overall. Yeah, pretty good thing there. Got the Whiplash and Dragonfly. No Raider. Track Correlators. Hang on a second. Track Correlated Spyglass for that long-range suppression fire. Spyglass and a Frontline as a tech. Interesting. 3 track correlators there. That's going to get you pretty accurate. Typically look for those 4, but I like that tech already. Okay, we got Ferricamite over here. Interrupt Jammer, 450 on the front. Stonewall Defender looks like it's the name of the game here. Dragonfly, Whiplash, Spyglass. This one's got another Frontline. Doubling up on the radars here. Very interesting tech choice. Not sure how that's going to work out or if it's deliberate. Kind of cool stuff to see. Lastly, we got First Legion, Best Legion, aka Ash and Gold. Got themselves a craft backpack here, a pair of Tantos, mostly a coil gun. Raiders, Whiplash, quad track correlator, Spyglass. Really going for that long-range barrage gaming with these things. See, this other one is the classic Parallax on that. So this is, I think, the only Parallax we've seen so far. So maybe susceptible to jamming. We'll find out. Bad Cake coming in here with the police squadron of frigates, it looks like. Yeah, this is going to be nasty stuff. All right, let's go through these in order real quick. Hang Up, VLS, and a whole bunch. Yeah, Hang Up Central on this thing. VLS 2 has got itself a bunch of those anti-craft munitions. See another one of these things. Sarissas, blankets, and some Mark 64s. Good little jammer device there. Similar style, just inverted with the back slots. You see, this one has got itself, more of the same here, just Sarissas and jammers. Nasty little anti-craft squad. They've got themselves a singular Stonewall and Chaffbox Capra headed towards C point. And then down on the far side, you got the other natural secured on the B side. So yeah, Ada's committing to that hell push of Brick Central. Let's see what squares off against them. Jar coming down here with a little Corvette that could, not Corvette, shuttle. I always get those two mixed up. T-20s and PVs on this thing, going to walk into the field of fire here. They have got a overwatching asset in the back. There's going to be a Plasma and 100 mil Obelisk by the looks of it. A couple container stack launchers to support it. Let's take a look what else has got radar coverage. There is a tugboat over here, multi-mission variety. Does have a PD turret instead of a lock there. Bit of a choice. Turn is accompanied by a Warbler T20 jammer, so we see one of these things deploying. ANS initially going to be jamming the hell out of this thing, although I don't think they're going to have too good effect at this range. Currently masked by the rock there with the RPF rounds to get that camera shot. Yeah, look at all of that ANS tonnage coming around that corner. That is a nasty thing to run into. 450 is not very effective against small shuttles like this, but we'll see just where they end up going. All right, we went through the fleets, and let's get through the rest of them. So Jar has another one of those multi-mission and little jammer cappers over here, capping the D point and moving out. We saw this one on that flank already. They've got this one, they're covered. They've got a T-20 shuttle on the point. They got another T-20 shuttle kind of moving its way down towards the rock here. Might go towards B side shortly. They had their goalie like we saw. And then lastly, a naked obligatory capper on the A point, uncontested. ANS just completely foregoing this, committing to that hell push on the E side. I'm not sure about this one, Chief. That is a lot of tonnage put into one area. They have to win this and win it fast. And when they do get that cap point, where do they go from there? That's going to be a case of, do they take this point and split? Do they decide to invest into other stuff? This is going to be an interesting rollout. All right, let's see. What's contesting the front lines here? We've got a singular Ocello here. Plasma and T-30, interesting choice. Does have the point defense of the Aurora there, as well as, yep, more Auroras and then some size 2 launchers on the side. You'll see these have some anti-bomber breadsticks and anti-craft munitions, though those are going to be wasted because there's not a single plane airborne right now, just keeping those in check. Look at that lovely seal icon. Vostell will be pleased. All right, escorting this is going to be a C-90, T-30, and plasma monitor. Extra radar, no, extra antenna backup on that thing, as well as a Pavise. I got that yard drive in the back, C-90 cannon, ammo elevators, and love to see it. All right. There's going to be probably another one of those accompanying, right? We got 1, we got 2. Yep, just a nice little inversion there. All right, we got Gaming Royale up top here. Going to be 450 Ocello. Another, loving the seals. Yes, the baby blue seals. Got the Ocello comms jammer on the back there. Empty top map, but looks at a bunch of Auroras, anti-hybrid tech, bullseye launcher in question. Not that many hybrids that I saw being brought to bear. Okay, so got floodlight illuminator, bullseye lock on these things. Probably parallax. Yep, parallax safely in the back there. Nice way to keep it safe. Although you can also put it in the front if you want to take some hits. Lastly, going to be Sultan Kiwi as the cap has developed now. Naturals have been secured on both sides, although that hell push is committing here. Sultan Kiwi is coming into the game with, looks like, some T-30 and plasma. Okay, interesting little combination. We got 1, 2, 3 plasma turrets and T-30s on this nice obelisk device to shoot the enemy from the top. They're going to be accompanied by another one just operating nearby. Same kind of loadout there. So that's 6 plasma turrets on these can opener, as well as the plasma turrets on those escorting monitors for 8 in total. So the Kiwi brings along a Bloodhound early warning device called the I Can't See double jury reactor, triple track correlator, and a adaptive radar receiver. One of those kind of offsets the other. Very accurate fire you can get at range here, kind of contesting against that spyglass factor. No Intel Center on this, which is a fairly common tech, but instead electing to go a little bit cheaper so they can afford everything else. Singular cap shuttle here, just a Pavise T-20 and then a pinpoint lock. The last resort is going forwards with. All right, so what are these players going to do? Well, the OSP kind of knows the jig is up. We see now Jar decided to move out of the kind of firing line here. Has a line ship decoy going off. Might be trying to seduce some of the enemy, get a better evaluation of what they got. As we saw there, one of the the shuttles went down here and immediately regretted his life choices, getting shot at a lot. So we'll see just where the kind of game ends up. This is a hell push and a half, but I'm really hesitant about this one, Chief, because this is a lot of ANS tonnage that's put in one area. It is going to find Jar over here. When these shots come by and impact, this thing probably set to free fire mode will in turn jam, although we're going to see just how effective that is. Now it comes to lock. We see that this thing takes the hit. That jammer should be active. There we go, instantly jamming this thing out. Do they drop off radar? Yes, they do. That's worth noting that despite all the benefits that the ANS has with all their radar and track correlators, they cannot beat a singular jammer. Floodlight going to be turned on and parallax sweep to follow shortly. There's the burn through. Do they get the lock in question, though? I'm not seeing it. You can see these names of the ships as we kind of look around here. So Bad Cake breaking off from the main formation secures that E side, is now headed towards A, see if they can pick off anything for free. OSP in turn starting to rotate over. They're still a little paranoid. Seeing this much tonnage in one place is a little bit odd. Going to be wondering just what they have brought to bear. You see the early warning checking the top side of the map saying, okay, if you guys are all down here, where's the rest of your team? Jar doing the right call here, moving towards a free back cap, can secure a good points advantage. Take a look now as we look at the score currently. There's going to be a 3 cap for the ANS team as we see Bad Cake trying to move towards the point here. This is like one of 2 Corvettes they have. That is a very limited avenue of fast movers. OSP in turn has Jar's entire collection of what are they called? I blank on the word. Shuttle, thank you. Yes, the ferryman class shuttle is what I was trying to say. Bit of fire going off there as the line ship decoy does make them fall for it. So there we are. Yeah. OSP has the avenue to backcap this. We're still only just getting started with this game. Only about 100 points on the board for both teams. They're going to fall for it here. It goes to show that even decoys are able to seduce good players there, as these players clearly experienced enough to recognize, hey, that isn't the way a line ship moves. Maybe they just want to get rid of it. Still going to expend the ammo. Jar probably wants to get out of here before too long, realizing that there's going to be trouble around this corner. That said, though, they're also setting up to have their frontline assets kind of back here, opening up on these things from around the bend. There we go. Yep. First target going to be found. Got some bombshells going out here to see if they can trim out anything. Potentially might be escorts that they don't identify yet. Jar is going to be hiding in the back corner here, using that jammer on Battle Short. Does mean it's going to get some damage dealt to it, but still able to get himself out of trouble pretty well here. Comms jamming is going to kick on as they potentially might think that there's some incoming missiles or other problems to deal with. OSP Frontline has yet to fully develop, and they're just saying, okay, if you guys are all down here, what if we just like moved elsewhere and played keep away on that? Jar developing towards the B side there. A-point cap is starting to commence, but like I said, A-point is always going to be a shooting gallery. 100 mil from below and the flank here. Going to see if Jar moves over. They've got plasma cannons currently locking onto targets, but I don't know if they're going to be engaging into the front line here or if they're going to be playing goalie sweeper duty against the A-cap. ANS can definitely get a cap advantage in the early game here, but it's going to be interesting to see if they're able to hold on to any of it once the OSP finally commits into this. This is definitely a surprise move and not something expected, the Super E Hell Push. Typically, you see teams like to go for the Super C side Hell Push, but in this case, going for the kind of like reverse sweep there, just kind of throw them off the rocker, put them into an unfamiliar position. That said, OSP looks like they're responding pretty well, deciding to navigate some of their troops away from this, realizing that, hey, face checking into 6 Axfords, probably not good for your health. Instead, going to look around the map, see what else they can pick off here. There's a complete lack of other goalie assets here, so it's basically just on bad cake to try and trim out every light thing on the board and then make the OSP not able to win on a cap advantage. As with these 6 Axfords, they're very strong when they are grouped together, but having to split off and take map control once the OSP cap gets going is going to be very difficult for them. So we'll see how they end up developing that. Looks like Jar is going to get sandblasted here as the squadron of 5 frigates is going to find one of their assets, the gun not for hire, taking a lot of damage across the board here. Only a standard drive on this, no reinforced or sun drive to help it retreat faster, so going to be having a little bit of a rough time as it definitely is eating those 250 shots. All right. Oh, that's a very bright yellow cone. Anyways, Jar around the corner now. T30 says hi, hello. Not before the A-cap goes through, though. Still, that is another asset bled from... I said the first asset bled here is just trading a shuttle that's... okay, it's a basically empty capper, Stonewall to defend against size 2s and stuff, but Jar in turn just losing, like, this is a very cheap asset. I'd say maybe, like, what, call this thing? It's under 200 points easily, so not that bad of a pick-off. OSP does have other assets. Jar needs to kind of get in gear. Again, the not knowing is really doing the OSP poorly here because they know that there's a lot of push. They don't know quite what is the rest of the comp. There could be beam destroyers in common positions or other goalkeeper assets keeping the teams honest, so we'll see just how they end up developing. They could consider that maybe they went for a meme strategy, electing to go for, say, triple Axford build, which is something doable, but is quite greedy. Seeing now the Hell Push commencing now as 9K is organized into a close-range formation. That said, though, if they get into close-quarters combat with the Plasma and 100 mil of the OSP side, that could be a big problem. There you go, secondary battery, primary battery is kicking off from the Obelisk here, just completely tearing this Corvette apart. It's already life potting, so they need to cease fire, reload, and then get going onto these frigates over here that are going to give them trouble on the sweeper duty. If they can kill off these frigates, there's basically nothing that the ANS can do to take out light ships. None of these are running the Greedford loadout with the secondary 120 mil batteries or the option of taking the 250 on the top slot. So you can see now, oh wait, actually, maybe I was wrong. No, there is in fact Greedfords in here. I have miscalculated. Yeah, it looks like this is going to be, that is Ash and Gold who's running the Greedfords. That's what we were looking for. Miscounted them because there's so many Axfords, but yeah, this is going to be a very good way to see off some of the lighter threats. That said, Plasma going to say something about it as the first Plasma Barrage kicks off here. The Mastodon going to be letting its guns rip into the Entropic Nemesis over here, starting to cook off a little bit of that armor. Not the best Plasma burn yet, but still that is enough to start opening that can to get those juicy internals with the follow-up 100mm guns. 3 caps sitting comfortably here. Jar starting to develop towards that B side. Knows that there could be a beam destroyer here, so naturally kind of cautious. Has the overwatching tug kind of playing around here. Going to see if there's anything that is going to cause trouble. Also has their shuttle moving towards the point here. Nice little usage of those shuttle kind of getting around. Has other assets being radar awareness here. See just how this ends up going. We're seeing now the ANS team electing to kind of split. This does make them more vulnerable to missile fire, but they're also able to kind of bracket in the ANS, bracket in the OSP team up here. OSP team has got bow onto target, and we're seeing now a bunch of those guns starting to let rip into the Ocello. Heavy and Havoc are pretty happy here. Yeah, just going to be taking those hits on the chin like a hero. Cruiser on cruiser warfare. Old meets new here on Yukon. 450 is going to be opening up from both sides here. This is not a great position to be in for Ash and Gold, aka First Legion, Best Legion, as they're going to rapidly find that this Ocello and Monitor pair can slide out from around cover and catch them in the broadside as they've kind of pointed their nose a little bit offset here. That gives them a nice plasma splash that they can get a good angle coverage from. Also going to see it here, the Mastodon in turn going to be a focus firing, so splitting is a good choice to try and get a flank off, but if you don't get the flank that you want, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Jar from below here, it looks like they took a little bit of damage earlier, but yeah, ANS just completely pushing past. Jar says, oh, well, is for me. Jar being the cap player here, looking at the cap situation, saying, oh, well, I could just slide behind you and cap these points. Already takes the C side over here. Going to take the B point in turn. Looking towards going for a 4 cap here. We're into the second quarter here for the ANS team. And yeah, oh boy, here we go. Plasma Central, as this thing is going to get cooked like a fish. Look at all of those plasma guns barking into the broadside of this thing as it is just getting lit up. 100 mil to follow up, going to be starting to rearrange the internals. Goodbye to all of your soft components as this 100 mil will find purchase. Hello and good night, sweet friend. Magazine is redded out. No more return fire for you. That is how you can open the craft like this. In turn, though, recognizing the threat, OSP is going to get shot pretty badly here by this 450 return fire. Well, there's only going to be 3 Axfords firing at the same time, but that is still quite a bit more than the Mastodon wants to be taking. Plasma gun's not the toughest thing there. Yeah, so this Axford is pretty well toasted. Losing its guns, has only 2 restores left. Had to go a little bit cheaper on some of the damage control, it looks like. Yeah, track correlator's not exactly free here and just getting shot out. 40 health on those things. Entire reinforced stack in the front does get itself taken out there. That is the power of these 100 mil close quarters bulkers. Can opener is deployed on another one over here. The Fair and Glee is going to be getting the treatment to the chin. You're going to see the 450 as well, providing fire support, chipping away at these guys in close quarters. This is how you do not want to be engaging with a kind of team asset like this. You saw that they had paid for the spyglass and track correlators. Plasma as well coming up from below as Jar has brought the plasma can openers. This is going to be the Axers falling into the classic folly of getting a little too close, a little too comfortable, and then just getting undone by that nasty close quarters damage dealing build that the AOSP has brought. Jaded Steak here is having a really rough go at left. Look at all of those 100 mils just biting into this thing. It is essentially mission killed. It can bring its guns back up online, but it's going to have a really rough time contributing any meaningful firepower at this stage. We're going to see over here, Von Luck is mostly untouched. The Ferric Might is doing fine. The Entropic Nemesis looks like it got its gun plotting center punched out up top. Does have a secondary one. Again, going for that very accurate long-range firepower and just not getting the fight they wanted with the long-range standoff at 11 kilometers. Instead, getting their teeth kicked in by the OSP team who decided, oh, you've entered gun range? Don't mind if we do. Strife Flight is airborne, trying to provide like a little bit of air support for something against any potential missile threat, but OSP decided to just basically play the fistfight build, and they are taking ANS to town right now. First Legion, Best Legion looks a lot healthier than they probably should be. We saw one of those Axfords was pretty totaled. Yeah, the other one got the can opener treatment. Now just waiting for the fire to rotate over. The fresh Dumbledore Plasma Cello with its T30 is going to give a little bit of love as well. Really taking this thing out now. Yeah, see, all that plasma, just wait for the 100 mil to follow up, and that's going to be that. 4 cap is secured for the OSP. ANS has 1. Bad Cake in the backfield here, trying to pick off any of these little assets, but still, they got too silly over here. It will get picked off with its drive getting sniped out, and then the RPF will kill it off, but still, this is like an entire player's worth of investment chasing a shuttle that does not cost 200 points, so that is a lot. Has to see some of these cap development and soon, otherwise OSP going to fly ahead with that 4 cap advantage. Losing the frontline and losing the cap war is not where ANS wants to find themselves. They can recover from this with some good engages, but currently right now they are just getting their teeth kicked in by all of this 100 mil fire. The 450 as well is a big factor in this because certain calibers are not able to break damage thresholds on these heavily reinforced capital assets, but that 450 will definitely be enough to do so, seeing those mags and stuff get sniped out. Normally you can zombie somewhat with a magazine and some other reinforced components nearby. Dual mag on this thing will actually keep it firing for a little bit, but not when its guns are taken out like that. Mark 62 is not going to be much help right now, trying to desperately roll, present the non-plasmid side, see if they can survive a little bit longer, but just yeah, Ash and Gold being taken to town by this nasty can opener 100 mil build. All right, a little question there in the chat. I am trying to read this, also commentate. What is Police Frig Blob? So a Police Frig is generally a frigate equipped to try and hunt down some of these lighter assets, keep the enemy honest, stop them from running around for free, do a little bit of tightening up of those various flanks. They are going to be effective against some of these lighter assets, but still, Jar preserving most of their stuff. They are losing in this frontline fight, as one would expect. A 100 mil bulker like this has only got 3 plasma turrets, 300 mils against a dedicated 3,000 point Axford duo here. That is going to be a pretty one fight, but not before they're able to get onto the point and cap it, buying a little more time. Does lose their booster reactor and a bunch of the other components. Maybe if given enough time, they could restore here. I think they're actually going to lose this restore, wasting it on a T30 as Jar is clearly doing other cap duties. So though, ANS not happy about this frontline engagement at all. They are taking their sweet time to die, but at the same time, that is a very decisive frontline advantage that now OSP can lever. All this plasma and 450 flying into now another Axford that's going to get taken to town. First Legion, Best Legion, aka Ash and Gold, had to go to ground here, had to try and hide, do their best. We see that the Strife Flight looks like they've got one of their craft picked off. I believe this is the secondary SDM battery from one of these Acellos had. What, isn't it? We saw it a seller earlier. Where was it? It was the fresh Dumbledore. Yeah, that's it. Czech and Tire had those secondary batteries, seeing some of these missiles going off here against some of these potential coil gun threats. Coil gun's very strong right now, and in turn, OSP responded by just saying, oh, well, we don't need fighter craft. We'll just, punch you in the face with frontline. The other team bringing any real strike craft here, just a couple backpack assets. More plasma going to be barking out here. Entropic Nemesis is Yeah, that is a very in pain Axford. It does have the ability to repair once again, but is it going to get the opportunity to with all of this relentless 450 firepower? 450 and 100 mil, I should say, more specifically. Sprint Mine deployed here from, I believe it was a shuttle earlier on. Jar does lose their goalie Bulker as expected, squaring off with a asset, probably costing just around like 1k or so, given the goalie asset. Not going to win against a 3k, that's to be expected still. Does manage to knock out like an ammo elevator or two by the looks of it over here, so that's a nice little diminishing of the effectiveness. Bad Kick commits a singular frigate over here towards the B side. They've got a accompanying capper trying to move on to B point. That said, Jar is over here with a multi-mission tug, which should probably be a match, if not a... I think they can actually just win against this. Sarissa is good in the Mark 64s as well, but Jar with the jammer and some missile potential, along with the extra T-20 from its escorting fighter. 2 versus 1, not what you want to be finding yourself in. Jar hitting them from 2 angles now, coming over towards the seaside. Not the engagement you want to find yourself in, but jammers are pretty good. Burn through is going to detect this thing, but they can't get a bullseye hold on it, so that jammer was burned out a little bit earlier on, so this might not be lasting forever. Seeing some missiles sent out here with kind regards. A-Rad Act Seeker type might get shot down. Double strike going out here. Let's see, are these things on target or not? Sarissa is not in arc. This is going to get through right into the jamming. Wham, 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 wham. The Livid Nerd is knocked out with reactors. Has a singular restore to bring itself back, but that's a decidedly one fight there. B point will be held. Meanwhile, on the front line, let's take a look over here, and we're going to see ECAP is getting taken by Toxic. Still, Toxic committing 3,000 points to win a singular fight against a 1,000-point asset. OSP massively winning in these points value trades, forcing the ANS to have to commit with this. Singular Sprint Mine tries for it, but unfortunately going to get shot down by still intact point defense net. Bad Kick trying to hold off this flank on the C point here. You see, once again, like the B point over here is pretty safe. Jar can just comfortably sit on this, shoot at that frigate, and then maybe take out this other one. This Corvette is quite low profile. I don't know if it has radar on or off. Yeah, it has radar still on, but still not detected by anything. Could go for a decap, but nothing stopping them committing one of their light assets over here. Like we said before, in all but its certainty, First Legion, Best Legion, aka Ash and Gold, was pretty much taken out in the first opening salvos of the engagement, drifting a little bit too far to cover and getting focus fired down like they did not want to do. Tropic Nemesis, in turn, also heavily suffering, can get its guns back operational, does have those nice large lockers to provide restores, can bring itself to, like, fire off into the front line again, but still, so much plasma damage has been dealt, these things are very vulnerable. In turn, the OSP front line, fresh Dumbledore over here, basically untouched. These monitors, nearly a scratch on them. Gaming Royale, like, taking a little bit on the chin there, as it is, again, an Acello, it is meant to take a bit of a beating, as it is a cruiser. Not the heavy cruiser of the NS, but still, OSP has their own command cruiser, which can do a bit of the same job. Mastodon, I think, took the worst of it, just getting a little bit of shots into its internals, but still, with a damage control complex and larger storage, they're able to bring most of this back up online and feel pretty good about the situation. That said, 3-cap is currently in the cards for the ANS, as OSP needs to start getting on the cap points there. They have managed to win this pretty handily. Setting Brimstones looks like it's going to get shot down here by a bunch of Mark 64s, biting up more than it can chew, losing its jammer as well. Trying to get that back up online and the drive as well, so we can get out. Firing a couple of missiles off here. We'll see if these end up getting through. I don't... maybe some 100 mil or size 2s got through. There is Sarissas and jamming in here, so we'll see if they're effective or not. So basically nothing stopping these 100 mil bulkers rolling over top of these police frigate squad over here on the seaside. Meanwhile, on the B point, Bad Kick trying to make it onto point. I don't think they're going to make it, as the 100 mil is going to be the end of this frigate, finally putting the nail in the coffin for this thing. Just barely alive with the reinforced stack here, splitting stuff. We'll see if the Whiplash drive gets knocked out. Can see that shuttle move onto target as well. All right, so ANS is down a frontline fleet, essentially, and Von Luck is bled the better half of one of these. So that's like 3 Axfords. So let's call that like 4.5 thousand points worth of assets, or 4,500, however you want to call it, worth of stuff that has been effectively bled out on the frontline battle. Fresh Dumbledore smells blood in the water and wants another piece of the action, going to be moving downwards towards these Axfords that are currently just hiding under a rock, hoping that the OSP does not push on them. You see Sultan Kiwi over here trying to be moving. It looks like they're just a little bit indecisive. Can't decide if they want to go towards Seaside and cap that, or if they just want to take the A point. A point is free right now. Toxic is the most healthy frontliner right now, but has their bow facing the wrong direction, can get caught in the broadside if they peek out from behind the rocks. I believe that they are tracked, and the 450 might be rotating over towards them. Looks like they're trying to get a shot on right now. May see these guns start to bark in a few seconds or so. Currently, they are masked by hull. Not sure which ones they're trying to shoot at. Might be going towards these guys here. Bearing to target, yet not quite getting them in range. Does exchange a little bit of a 450 shot there, but not nearly enough to do anything. B point denial is complete, as Bad Cake has lost one of their frigates over here. Though, in turn, D point flip is going to be going through. ANS took a nasty frontline engage there and nosed her on the back foot, trying all they can to secure this backfield advantage, see what they can do against it. You can see the tug over here is heavily damaged. 3 damage control teams putting in that overtime work, trying to keep their assets up. Fortunately, no jammer for this one. Again, Mark 64 bricks. This is just like ANS is trying to solve a $5 problem with fistfuls of 20s. They had to commit 2 Axers to taking that E point, had to commit their entire police squad to taking the seaside. They will get pickoffs of Jar's cap fleet, but their frontline is not having a good time right now. Nothing really stopping the OSP from just moving their frontline assets onto 3 points and securing themselves a victory here. The D cap will go through, but the B cap is defended in turn. A cap going to be flipping for the OSP. Slight cap point lead right now for the OSP with a points total of... Don't do math on stream. I think that's like, what do we call that? It's going to be a 6 at least, and then 36 points, I think. So that can tie up fairly well. We are into the third quarter of the match right now as the points kind of keep flip-flopping. Is on Sultan Kiwi to just come around this corner, use their 100 mil guns, hold that cross-fix block as the guns are focused over here on trying to kill off this Tug. Tug somehow still alive there for a while. Does manage to get CIC finally knocked out by 450 supportive fire. 450 fairly effective there. Couple of missiles coming down now, as well as we're going to see some more of this plasma and 100 mil biting into this. This is going to be some good focus fire, electing to go after the escorting assets that do some decent damage. C90 and T30 quite effective. More so effective to shoot at a light escorting asset than trying to punch through the nose of this Acello. Acello pretty reinforced up here, not going to go anywhere anytime soon, having a good time. That said, it does lose its antennas, which is a bit of an issue. It's not having its ability to share tracks using the bullseye on it in the back slot there. So it does have to get that repair done sooner rather than later. Might not notice it, just they are managing their frontline assets right now. Anyways, Sultan Kiwi starting the rotation up, headed towards Seaside now as we see Bad Cake is still keeping all their blob together as one right now. D-Point is basically free, just a singular naked capper. Jar kind of needs to commit something back here. They do have assets in reserve they can go and commit onto that point. Probably does not realize just what exactly is the back capper in question here. So we'll see how that ends up developing. Points almost equalized now, but ANS definitely taking the worst part of the frontline engagement. Might see the first capital properly killed here. This thing is alive with a CIC, a drive, and a dream. Bit of a wasted fire there as the OSP does not quite target identify just how crippled this ship is. They're trying to break that reinforced CIC. This thing is structure broken, so a good 450 shot will be the end of that. Still, though, there's other assets that are a little bit more intact here. Whew. All right, that CH, yeah, that C8 is super duper out. Anyways, holding on to the caps here, we're going to see, once again, yep, Sultan Kiwi just taking a bit of their time. They can commit their assets onto point. Bad Cake is around the corner and might be a little bit scary with those Mark 64s. They can do decent damage against a pair of bulkers here, but not a, like, intact pair of bulkers like we see. Mastodon is a little bit damaged, but still effectively able to combat them. And with the sheer number of 100 mil guns on this thing, if they roll over and take a good look at a good track of 100 mil, the 250 millimeter frigate squad over here, they're going to tear them a complete new one. Point score is equalized right now. Bad Kid going to come around the corner here, trying to commit to some flanking supportive fire. Might be the right call. We'll see how it ends up developing. Getting into a flank of an Acello like this can help, but ANS just really not having a good time on the front line. Ash and Gold doing a good job trying to just keep alive, posturing, making themselves look scary. OSP is going to commit to apparently plasming a rock there. Yeah, a couple shots do go wide even at this range. Do they remember to fix their antenna? No, has not checked the damage control board. Doesn't realize it quite yet, I don't think. That's unfortunate. OSP sitting on that A coin, looking pretty happy about themselves. Jar moving themselves back towards the D point, realizes this is free real estate, going to be trying to commit their T20 shuttle onto it. ANS does take a slight cap lead in this third quarter, but still, there's nothing stopping OSP taking these 2 caps from them and then just pretty much sitting on the A point the entire rest of the game. It will take so long to remove all of these assets with the current frontline tools that ANS has. You see over here, Toxic is going to start taking the hits here into the drive section in the backfield, as unfortunately they put their heading a little bit off to the side. 450 AP rounds from the Heavy Havoc and the Pesky Idol going to be finding those reactors. Very nice pickoff right there. Going to be shutting down the power to that Parallax. All right, Order over here also going to be exchanging 450. We do see that the Pesky Idol has taken quite a few hits here. Again, oh, why would you go with a small drive? You fool! That's a common mistake there, realizing you picked the wrong drive, or maybe they were having to do that for points reasons. No, I think they just realized that they had the wrong drive there, so we'll have to make sure players remember to fix their builds. Always go for those big drives, totally worth it. The HP is worth it, as well as the damage threshold. Bad Cake trying to rotate over the rock, knowing that they committed one asset and couldn't get the B cap, now trying to do a little bit of drive-by action, decide a bit of the front line, see if maybe they can swing for an A cap here, and then possibly go for that B back cap. In turn, though, back cap is going to go off here as Sultan moving onto the C point right here, right meow with their shuttle. That is the benefit of having these fast-moving assets in the late game. Cheap little things like this can get around the map, put them on flank speed, run them at 50, you can get into the backfields, as we saw with that shuttle and Corvette trade off here. Shuttle in question moving onto the D point now, going to be securing the cap momentarily. Still almost into the fourth quarter here as the ANS continues to hold on. Reactor Bloom looking like it's going to go off here. Fuel and Fire, never mind. Misreading that. Kind of wish we had different icons for that, but water under the metaphorical bridge. Axford's managing to hold on, so the pesky idol is going to be taking a lot of damage. Still alive, technically. Once again, that big drive there. If you had the big drive, you can keep yourself alive for a lot longer, holding out the drive, a CIC and a dream, as we saw that Ash and Gold is doing over here. Yeah, these things just barely still kicking. Seriously, just drive big drive, CIC, a dream. That's what they've got to deal with. Bad Kid going to be seeing off some of the lighter assets over here. Again, a large commitment to try and winning this fight. We see Jar, in turn, is going to be answering with some counter jam. Keep them busy as long as they can. ECAP is going to be going through as well. Jar on the ball, moving around some of their small stuff, able to do that backcap gaming. Nothing for the ANS team is over here. These coil toes are just for point defense usage and maybe shooting down a fighter craft or two on the outside. That's going to be the backcap decided here, as I believe once D point goes through, that'll be a 5-cap situation. Bad Kid needs to try and get something done. 8-point push is attempted. There we go. Ash and Gold finally getting themselves knocked out as they've been structure broken and taxed. I see this fueling fire cook off lovely stuff here. Come on, give me that big explosion. Kablooey. There we go. Love that purplish, pinkish smoke stuff. All right, Ash and Gold is on the point. They need to rotate their fire over once they realize those ships are in fact dead. You can check for the magic smoke, the alarm bells, or the life pods 30 seconds after they are knocked out. Needs to get these things rotated and soon. Oh no, a bit of an error there. I believe this thing is just stuck. Why is this thing rotating like that? That's a little bit odd. Anyways, doing some weird rotation, trying to tank with its butt. Questionable choice there. Probably can put your bow onto target and get good effect. Anyways, they're still going to be holding the point here. 5-cap is secure. There's going to be 10 points per tick. 780 even on the board. Bad Kid desperately trying to scream for this point on flank speed, but looks like a bunch of their ships are either damaged or just not able to get there. Whiplash drives do make these things run decently quick. I think it's like 26 or 27 or so. With kind regards, missiles being fired off here, we'll see if these are intercepted by some Mark 64 RPF rounds or if these are shot down by Sarissas. There we go, a bit of Sarissa action going off. I think these are set to weave. Maybe a little bit desync. Sarissa should tax out these things pretty well. 1 shot per missile. Oops, changing targets at the last second, having a questioning chunk. All right, one going to find its way into the nose there. Takes out the cooling amplifiers and plant control center on the hang-up brick, so that's going to be that. All right, E-point in turn, like we said, was capped out there. ANS just falling behind now, hilariously so, as they've been 5-capped on this. The all-in gambit of doing 6 Axfords into a hell push like that. Very powerful. Ooh, speaking of powerful, hello, reactor drive bloom. That is going to be everything on that A-point getting cooked off. Potentially, what was that one? I think it was the Fair and Glee. Given that this ship does not appear to exist anymore, I would deduce that is correct. So that is going to strip off all of the armor here, which is quite powerful, although we're going to see just what ends up happening from there. Let's see, the Ferric Might in question is going to be taking this pretty well. It still has a decent chunk of its armor. 40 over here is going to be just giving it a heroic hoorah with C90 to the nose, trying to take out that big gun. A very large hitbox on the belly there can get smacked by a 600mm Hesh round and read it out. 60% of the offensive firepower goes with that as well. B-cap does go off, but I think that might be too little too late. OSP needs to commit some stuff to the cap war. Unfortunately, just committing to the Hell Push blob, as we saw Bad Kid keep all of their police assets in one singular blob, and they just tried to win to the sheer strength of the frontline Oopsall Axford build. Yeah, losing a 9k Axford ball insanity. Yes, that is exactly it. They had set themselves up for that super long-range gaming, playing that very accurate track-correlated style. Of course, I clicked the one that doesn't have track correlators. Anyways, one of these did. Hello from the 100 mil side. All right, what do we got from up above there? Yeah, Sultan deciding that they have committed onto the C point, capped it, and then there's stuff for them to do. They want a piece of the action, and they're going to let that 100 mil fly into the broadside of Von Luck. Von Luck rapidly diminishing their health bar here. They've got a CIC and a mag grouping it together. There is a mag cook-off going on as well. That is a mission-killed Axford. No way to put that thing back together and fire another shot. Still trying to go for a cap contestation there. Decap, backcap does go off as Jar decides to move off of that point here. Kind of a funny, like, your turn, my turn thing going on here as both the shuttle and Corvette are going to be exchanging things here. Bad Cake going to be trying to move over here. Looks like they were trying to do a little police action, see if they could snipe out that T-20 Corvette. So that's not going to be quite enough, as OSP 926 points on the board, 934 now as they're holding on to that 4-cap, looking pretty decidedly on the win here. Unless ANS manages like a 4 or 5-cap in the next, like, minute, I don't think they're going to get this one. Yeah. Whew. That does go to show that you can have a game plan, but once you encounter the enemy, all game plans can go to shit, as OSP was just lurking behind that rock, waiting for the enemy to get overexcited. ANS decides to go towards that A point, try and secure themselves the cap. They knew they gave up map presence by going for that super hellish E push. They managed to push around there, but then the split off and the sudden undoing, I believe it was First Legion, Best Legion, aka Ash and Gold, who was the first one to get followed up on by the immediate, like, oh, hey, you're going to be split pushing. Don't mind if we do. Follow up, sucker punch. Yeah. Ooh. Where is Neko? I'm currently doing the caster mode, so no model right now. That also helps with the stability. Let's watch this thing go kablooey, shall we? That's going to be a magazine cook-off. You don't see those very often, blowing out the side there, as well as the life pod. So luckily, this one team was able to eject heroically to live to fight another day. It looks like they got some other friends with them as well. Over here, we're going to see Toxic having to commit an Axford. It is currently just tanking with the drive, trying to put their aft thrusters towards the enemy, just go as fast as they can, get onto a cap point. Not going to be soon enough. A point is contested there briefly, as we see there's still enough ships. Massive ship graveyard forming up on this A point. Wow. That is a lot of dead ship on a neutral. I knew that A cap was going to be a neutral graveyard. I didn't realize it was going to be for both teams' frontline as they move into the last bits of the fourth quarter. That will be the final caps going through here now. Not enough time to contest anything for the ANS. They still managed to make it to 800 points or so before getting knocked out. So all things considered, for how the cap situation kind of developed with the all-in push towards that E point low, they did manage to rack up about 80% of the games scored that they required to win. That's going to be GG called GG. Whoo, wow. Yeah. Frontline versus Frontline, not a carrier in sight, just a backpack fighter or two on the ANS side. Just absolute slugfest committed there. OSP taking that close-range battle as ANS got a little too comfortable and then got jumped on, not able to use their track-correlated spyglass to lay down suppressive fire like they had wanted to. This is one of the risks of a death ball push. You are very powerful in that 9-kilometer bracket, but if you give the map control to the enemy by doing so, you better be ready to contest it in that later game. And unfortunately, they just did not quite have the split-off and engagement they were looking for that. Damn, that was a good game. Anyways, I've been NekoboyBlue. This is the end of this recording. I will see you all in the next one. Meow meow.